Watching another live edition of the Mad Hatter is Puzzled. It's been a while, been on a hiatus for a little bit, but I am back now and so glad to be with you all on today. I got a jam-packed episode for you guys, a special coronavirus edition of the Mad Hatter is Puzzled. I've kind of been watching the news and the airwaves and seeing, how everyone's been kind of reacting and responding to the coronavirus outbreak that is taking place all across the globe. And sure enough, we got plenty of stuff to be talking about, plenty of things for me to be puzzled about. And I'm really excited to be back with you guys to talk about some of the things that I've seen going on and give you some of my thoughts on it. I am currently working on the Anatolian colors, this beautiful elephant puzzle. Been waiting to work on this for quite some time, and so that's what I'm currently working on right now. As a disclaimer, no puzzling company has endorsed me, and so these opinions that you hear me saying on today are solely my own. So if you hear anything that I say that may be offensive to any of you all, please don't take it out on these wonderful companies who are giving us things to do in the midst of this coronavirus outbreak. I was just telling one puzzling company earlier this week, that disclaimer, I'm not endorsed by any puzzling company, so these are solely my opinions and my thoughts. So don't take any thing that I say out on any of them, because no one's given me an endorsement yet. And if you guys ever do want to give me an endorsement of any kind, by all means, please hit a brother up. And let's negotiate something. As of right now, I am not endorsed by any one puzzling company. And this is the puzzle that I'm working on today by Anatolian in the Perry group. African colors by in Anatolian. So let's jump right into it today. I got a lot of stuff that I'm puzzled about. The first thing that I do want to talk about today, which really doesn't have anything to do with the coronavirus, but it's interesting how the company was able to just kind of take advantage of the fact that everybody's sitting at home. Netflix, in some way, shape, or form, always has a way of knowing just how to get people's attention. And they got it with one of the most weird documentary series ever conceived by man, in my opinion. And I don't really think they were expecting it to garner as much attention as it did, but surely it has. The global phenomenon known as Tiger King. I've only seen 1.5 episodes of this show, but man, when I tell you that this thing is full of suspense, mayhem, confusion, and the list goes on. Netflix and the person who created the series has really gone out of their way to give us something to look at and something to be mad at. Baskins, and how she is so just hyper saintly and wanting to do good by the animals and while at the same time treating them by putting them in cages and things of that nature and profiting off of them being in cages at the same time. I found her to be so hypocritical compared to Leo Exotic. No, not Leo, but Joe Exotic. Now, mind you, Joe Exotic, is pretty much exploiting these animals and everything and making a profit off of them and whatnot. But I just found it so hypocritical of her to want to shut him down so people can want the same thing, or rather they can want different things but go about it the same way. And I feel like that's exactly what was happening, where, she has this, desire to do well by the animals, and her heart may be in the right place, but her methods look exactly like those of Joe Exotic. And so it's like you're sitting there talking about the fact that he's an evil person. He's putting these animals in captivity. He's treating them like animals and But you've not, it seems as though you didn't take the time to ever get to know the man, to try to figure out what he was really doing, how he was going about doing his business. And instead, your sole mission was just to go in and see and try to stop him from doing what he was doing, so that you can be the sole benefactor of a lion in tiger captivity unit. I don't even know what to really call it because they claim it's not a zoo, but that's exactly what it is. It's a zoo. You got people coming in, you're selling tickets and all that kind of stuff, and T-shirts and blah blah blah. And so again, I've only gotten one episode in, and I know that there's more to the show than just the animals being sold and things like that. So I'm really excited to this weird episode, and my daughter was in there, and we were like, nah, we're not gonna watch this no more. So hopefully by the end of the weekend, I will have seen it all and maybe come back and do another podcast and do a follow-up of that. And so if any of you all have seen Tiger King, please feel free to fill out the comment section below and let me know more to talk about maybe in the next coming weeks about my thoughts on the show and its impact on the world. Because once again, Netflix has capitalized off the fact that you got a whole bunch of people sitting at home with nothing to do. And so why not watch this weird documentary about these guys who love tigers so much that apparently somebody got killed for it. If you do have any comments or you have any questions or anything of that nature, feel free to fill in the comment box below, and I'll try to get to your questions as soon as I can. Or comments, feel free to fill out that comment box below, and I'll try to answer them as fast as I can. But onto some more serious yet still chaotic mess going on out there in the world today. The first thing that I wanted to talk about was the fact that you had a whole bunch of coronavirus parties over the past weekend, and a whole lot of people got in trouble over that stuff. We had these two specific reports that I pulled out. Let me see if I can find the other one really quickly. I thought I may have stapled them together. No, or maybe I didn't. Hold on, let me see. Yeah, I stapled them together. Okay, so I got two stories in Jersey, but there were also some arrests and some breakups that needed to happen, even in California, in Florida, right here in my own city of Valdosta, Georgia, and in New York. I may have already mentioned that. Where you had these people who decided they wanted to have these corona parties despite all of the stay-at-home orders that have been given by the police and by their city officials and the state governments. Despite all of that, people still gonna be dumb and decide to have these corona parties where all gathering together to party and have a good time in defiance of the orders that have been given by the local governments. And so, obviously some people got arrested, and I got this one in particular. Law enforcement in Ewing Township, New Jersey, reportedly broke up a party Friday night with 47 people in a small apartment, despite recommendations from health officials amid the coronavirus pandemic. The apartment renter, Wade Jackson, was issued summons for allegedly obstructing the administration of governor of New Jersey. Said, "Can't believe I have to say this at all, let alone for the second time. But here we are. No corona parties. They're illegal, dangerous, and stupid. We will crash your party. You will pay a big fine, and we will name and shame you until everyone gets this message in their heads." And it wasn't just him. There was a breaking the coronavirus order and hosting a bonfire party. Sean Marshall Myers, 41 years old, was busted after refusing multiple orders to disperse the crowd of 60 people at his home. And he was charged with failure to comply with an emergency order implemented by Governor Hogan, barring gatherings of 10 or more people to curb the spread of coronavirus. And so, once again, you're in a situation where, and shout out to Ravensburger Global. Good to see you guys on today. It's really a sad state of affairs when you have to tell people over and over again, stay at home, stay at home. Like, you got this we're trying our hardest to flatten the curve, and trying to, get the coronavirus to get away from, to disperse and to be done with and be over with so that we can get back to our normal lives. But people are so selfish and so self-centered and wanting to do things the way that they want to do them that it's like they just have a total disregard for the safety of themselves and others in the name of YOLO and wanting to only live once. Like, it's like, come on, y'all. Like, at what point do we have what is it going to take in order for us to take this seriously and, try to ensure the safety and the well-being of not just ourselves, but the people that we love. Like, is it that necessary for us to have parties? Is it that necessary for us to come, for us to gather together in such large droves? It was different, and I would have probably had a lot more sympathy had, the parties had been like maybe 5 or 6 people, and they were trying to bust up, 5 or 6 people trying to have a good time. That's one thing. But they say gatherings no bigger than 10. So if you can bring 9 people to your house and they'd be fine, and all that kind of stuff. But again, in the name of safety and in the name of well-being and trying to keep everyone safe and trying to keep everyone protected, why is it that it's so difficult for us as people to get it in our heads that we need to stay at home and we need to be taking care of our families and taking care of ourselves? This is indicative of the fact that, we as a people long for connection. And I know that there are a lot of, people out there who feel like, no, you don't need connection, that it's only a state of mind and blah, blah, blah. I want to congregate with them. We want to associate with them. And, despite everything that's going on, and this may start to sound a little hypocritical on my part, but just kind of roll with me for a second. Like, it's indicative of the fact that for a lot of us, like, we long to be around other people. And as much as we want to talk about being able to be by ourselves and take care of ourselves, we long to be connected with other folk, to be around other folk, to talk to other folk, to associate with other people. And so, as much as it's stupid, and people ought to still be following the recommendations of our law enforcement and our government officials and things like that. At the same time, isn't it ironic that we have all this social media connection tools, and we have all the online internet and stuff like that, but we still want that face-to-face human contact with other people. We still want to be around other folk. Now, I think their motives were still kind of, impure, in that I feel like a lot of them that did go out and party and all that kind of stuff are really doing it in defiance of the law, and saying we're going to do what we want to do regardless of what you say. But again, it's still indicative of the fact that despite some of the ulterior motives that may come along with it, that you still have people who just wanted to be around other people. And so if that's you and you feel like you're the type of person who just has to be around somebody, who just has to be able to, be there with someone else, just do so in a way that is this is real, despite what political affiliation you may associate yourself with. You cannot deny the fact that this is a real situation, and that it's a lot more serious than even, some of your government officials may take it as. And so, don't be a dummy. Don't congregate and associate with folk who are, in spite of the law, because again, all it takes is one person having a disease, and that person can spread it to everybody else. It's just like the recommendation said, it's a matter of you acting as if you already have it and don't want to spread it. This is not like something where you do everything you can to try to prevent yourself getting it. No, you act as if you have it and try not to spread it to other people. And again, I know it sucks, and it's difficult for some people to understand. Even with my family, we wanted one of my family members wanted to have a gathering this past weekend, and all of us emphatically said, no, we're not going to do that, because our government officials have told us that we can't congregate with one another like that. And my family's huge, and so we love them all, but right now is not the time for us to be coming together to be eating no food. Like, I'm not gonna risk my health and safety over a plate of neck bones and black eyed peas and collard greens and fried chicken and other feel good eat stuff that I really miss right now. And I kind of wish that we could have had the social gathering, but we couldn't do it because they said we can't do that. And so now my stomach hurts and I'm very sad. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to fill out the comment section below. I am currently putting together this puzzle, and I'm going to move the Instagram camera so y'all can kind of see a little bit better what I'm working on. I'm working on this puzzle right here. It's can't get the camera to act right. It's the African colors, Anatolian, And this is some of the work that I'm working on right now on this side. So it kind of looks like I'm not really doing much of anything the way I had it set up. But again, I am working on that puzzle. And if you guys have any questions or comments, feel free to fill out the comment section below, and I'll try to get to your questions as best as I can. Let's see. Another instance of social gathering becoming a problem in Tampa. They arrested a pastor of a mega church after he defied the social gathering. He turned himself into authorities Monday afternoon in Hernando County, where he lives. He was charged with unlawful assembly. Hold that thought for 1 second while you don't mind being on camera? All right. Okay, say what's up to the Red Owl, everybody. Woo! Red Owl, hey! Pastor Rodney Howard Brown turned himself into authorities Monday afternoon in Hernando County, where he lives. He was charged with unlawful assembly in violation of a public health emergency order. Bail was set at $500, which I'm pretty sure he or the church paid. The sheriff's office said, "Shame on this pastor, their legal staff, and the leaders of this staff for forcing us to do our job. That's not what we wanted to do during a declared state of emergency. We are hopeful that this will be a wake-up call." In a Facebook video on Sunday, Brown said that it looks like we're going to have to go to court over this because the church is encroached from every side. This is really about your voice, the voice of the body of Christ. So as I was, talking with several people about this particular situation, my heart was kind of torn in the beginning. But again, as I continue to have conversations with other people about this situation, I kind of, felt a little more solidified. And Red Owl, since you're here, you can chime in on this if you want to. But it was kind of like one of those things where I kind of wish I could know a little bit more what happened in that situation, like whether or not he was hosting a live event and people just decided to come to church anyway, or whether he acted in straight defiance of the order of that was given by the law enforcement officials of Tampa, and just decided he was just going to have church anyway. Because if it's that one side, then I don't feel bad. I feel bad for him if that's the case. Because if they decided that they were, I'm going to go to church anyway because that's what I want to do, and I don't want to, watch it online. I want to watch it, live. Then, I can't blame him. Thank you. I can't blame him for, what happened because again, he can't stop people from coming to church. He kind of can, but I don't think he would want to. But if it was an act of defiance against the state officials once again, and it was more about him just wanting to, show the world that we're going to still have church regardless of what anybody says, then, again, I feel like, that he shouldn't have done that. And my reason for that is because in this particular case, and this is what I've been hearing a lot of from other people in social media, is that they feel like the governments are now trying to shut down the church, and this is an assault on the church. And we need to stand up, and we need to be counted, and we need to take up spiritual arms and continue to come to church anyway, because how dare they try to silence the church? And I believe within my heart of hearts that this is not that the church is not being persecuted, by them trying to do these, shutdowns of church assemblies. Because if you think about it, and I hope that people are hearing me and hear what I'm trying to say, it's not just the churches that are shutting down. Schools are shutting down. Businesses are shutting down. You can't go into restaurants anymore. You can't, do a whole host of things. They're trying to limit, the time that you can come to down all at the same time. And they're doing so because they're trying to limit the amount of interaction that you have with other people. Because if you think about it, it's not just church assemblies that shut down. Basketball games shut down. The XFL, which was finally doing good, and I was starting to watch it. It was really getting good. They had to shut down. Hockey had to shut down. Football might not start up. They can't even do the NFL draft in Vegas like they wanted to, and they had this big old thing they were getting ready to do. Every type of large gathering of more than 10 people, they're saying, no, you can't do that. And so for anyone to have this idea in their minds that there's a persecution against the church, this is not that. As a matter of fact, in my humble opinion, I feel like this is that for once the government is actually looking out for the church's best interest. That if you want your churches to continue, if you want your memberships to continue to thrive, if you want your memberships to stay alive, for crying out loud, then for these few months, shut down your live services, in the sanctuaries. If you still want to do your online stuff, you're more than well and free to do that. Even if you want to do praise and worship online, you're more than welcome to do that. But again, at this point in time, it's not that the government is trying to shut down church or wants people to stop preaching. Because if you sit and really think about it, look at all the preachers now that are online now. Like everyone's preaching the word, teaching the word in a way that may have never been done before, where preachers who didn't believe in the online stuff, now all of a sudden they're doing online and they've got stuff set up and all sorts of things. And, the word is being spread in a way that kind of mimics what Paul in the scriptures was talking about when he said that he wishes that he could be in all places at all times and preach the gospel to everybody. And so, again, not trying to get into a whole gospel spiel, but it's indicative of the fact that for once the government is actually on the church's side and that the government wants to see churches continue to thrive. Now, you can say they have ulterior motives, money, and all that kind of stuff if you want. But at this certain juncture, I truly believe in my heart of hearts that the church and the government are not aligned against each other. They're not bumping heads. And instead, at this point, they're actually on the same side because they're looking out for the people. Because again, the church is not a building. It's not a service. It's not a regular order of worship. It's a people. And you can't have church without people. And if the people are dead because we all decided to get together in defiance of the government and one person in that room has coronavirus and spreads it to everybody else, your whole congregation is done now. And it's not to say that everybody's going to die. I don't want to make it sound so doom and gloom. But again, you're increasing the likelihood of getting sick and not being around. Say, y'all better say bye to Red Owl, bye. That you're running the risk of all your people, now not being able to congregate with you for weeks, if not months on end, because you decided to be defiant against the government in the name of Jesus. And, try to continue to hold your worship services when it's clear that, the last thing we need to be doing right now is having our people, be exposed to any type of sickness or disease as best as we can help it. And again, the fact that, the church, again, is not a place, it's a people. And if you lose your people, then you can have your churches open all day long, but you ain't going to have nobody worshiping in them. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to fill out the box below, and I'll try to get to them as best as I can. Again, I'm working on the Anatolian puzzle, African colors, and so looking forward to seeing how all that unfolds later on. As I'm, again, just kind of working on it right now, trying to get some clarity on where I'm going with the elephant part of it right now. Something else that came up in the news today or this week regarding coronavirus, they had this company, General Electric, because of the coronavirus, they were already getting ready to lay people off. And some of the people who, after the layoffs took place, they decided that they wanted to organize a strike against General Electric because they figured while they were there, they could actually try to help in the battle of coronavirus, and instead of working on building other things, could actually be working to build ventilators. So that way, those who are in the medical field could have more ventilators to deal with the coronavirus outbreak. Let me see. On Monday, General Electric factory workers launched 2 separate protests demanding that the company convert its jet engine factories to make ventilators. At GE's Lynn, Massachusetts aviation facility, workers held a silent protest, standing 6 feet apart. Union members at the company's Boston headquarters also marched 6 feet apart, calling on the company to use its factories to help the country close its ventilator shortage amid the coronavirus outbreak. And these protests come just after General Electric announced that it will be laying off 10% of its domestic aviation workforce, firing nearly 2,600 workers, along with a temporary layoff of 50% of its maintenance workers in a bid to save the company $500 million to $1 billion. This news came as Congress stood ready to pass a multi-trillion-dollar corporate bailout that would include at least $50 billion in federal assistance and $25 billion in loans and temporary tax relief for the aviation industry, as well as a further $17 billion, as well as I wrote that wrong. Further $17 billion for federal assistance to companies deemed crucial to national security. And GE says it does not plan to request funds from the stimulus. So I kind of felt, a certain type of way regarding how all this is unfolding, because here you are talking about the fact that you're having to do all these layoffs in the interest of trying to save money, while at the same time you have a golden opportunity not just to save money, but also to save your workers because they want to work. And they have an opportunity to do something that's not just beneficial for themselves to keep their, lights on and, keep it, making ends meet, but they also want to help the community. They also want to help others, try to save, try to save themselves and try to save the rest of the world by making these ventilators. It's a sad state of affairs when we're having to depend on and rely on assistance from other countries. I saw that the Patriots, the New England Patriots, their plane went out to some country. I think it's in like Japan. Hey, what's up, Postal Baby? It's good to see you today. They're depending on other countries. They had to fly out to another country to go and get I think it's masks. Taiwan is giving masks away. Another organization is going to go get some masks as well. It's a sad state of affairs when we, as the so-called richest country on earth, have to rely on other nations to try to help us in this fight, when we have people and we have things in place right here in our own nation that can help us to do the things that we need to do. We are so far behind in trying to flatten this curve. It is mind-boggling, given that we're this so-called richest country in the world. Like, other countries are doing everything in their power to try to flatten the curve. And they're imposing things, and people aren't able to go out, and they're having to stay at home and all this other kind of stuff. And they're doing delivery services and helping out one another. Whereas us, the seemingly entitled country that we are, cannot get it through our thick skulls that sometimes you have to forsake dollars for the sake of people. Right, and again, it's just so mind-boggling to me that we still cannot get this thing together. But I guess living in a capitalist society that we do, it's still so apropos that we continue to just be the greedy, selfish monsters that we know that we're so good at being, and do so at the expense of people, and do so at the expense of the ones who are actually helping us get rich. Because you can do all these layoffs all day long. But again, at the end of the day, you're not going to have a workforce if you keep treating your workforce like trash. And so you have these people who are ready and willing to sacrifice their time, their energy, and effort to try to not just make money for themselves, but also try to, help other people, try to help the world, and convert all of their jet engine stuff that ain't nobody going to need anytime soon, because who's flying at this point? So it's not like you need to make more jet engines anytime soon, make more airplanes anytime soon, and convert just like they did in World War II. God, I can't remember the name of the company right now. It's a clothing company. They stopped making clothes to make masks. I mean, it's not this difficult. It's not that difficult, ladies and gentlemen. Like, if you want to, help, if you want to be a part of the solution, it's time for our companies to step up. It's time for our CEOs to step up. And it's because, as I always say, it's very interesting that people don't want to step up and don't want to help out until it's affecting them. when it's close to home. When it hits them, now all of a sudden we need to do everything we can to raise awareness. We need to do everything we can to try to flatten the curve. We need to do everything we can to try to give this, give that. And it's not everybody. I don't want to make it sound like it's everybody, but it seems like the ones who, some of the ones who have the power to step up and do something are still in that place of, I want to be greedy. I'm only looking out for myself. I'm only looking out for our bottom line. And at the end of the day, although I know that these are still businesses and they still got to do what they have to do, at some point you have to be willing to step up and say, in the interest of the people that we're serving, in the interest of the people that we are trying to help out, let me do my part. Let me try to help. Let me try to do something in order to make a difference. And as an added benefit, keep the people that are actually helping me to do this thing, keep them in business, keep them making steady paychecks, and keep them from having to be fired and having to find other jobs. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to fill out the comment section below. Try to answer your questions as best as I can. Again, I'm working on the puzzle African Colors by Anatolian Puzzles, having a really good time putting some of these pieces together right now. If you are one of my followers and are interested in this, I am going to be battling with Puzzle Pastime. We're going to be battling with the puzzle from Puzzle So Hard, the patch of flower patches. Really looking forward to this. That's going to happen sometime around the noon o'clock hour. And so be looking out for this because we're definitely looking forward to having a great time puzzling with one another. We're going to see who's going to win that puzzle battle in just a little while. It might be maybe around 1 o'clock because I'm going to be hungry and I'm going to go get me something to eat. Jigsaw, but not scary. What's going on with you, girls? Good to see you. She says corporations have forgotten social responsibility, and we as a whole have forgotten our neighbors. It's time to get back to that. Girl, I could not agree with you more. I feel like that's part of the issue, is that we have forgotten, and maybe this is a wake-up call, that we have to be willing to look out for our fellow man, just like with the partying even, or the congregations that are still gathering despite the orders and the health recommendations. It's like, how selfish must you be to where you can't even think about the person who, is sick, or your opportunity to be able to be forgotten to care for one another. I saw a commercial yesterday that was talking about agape love, and I was like, wow, I'm grateful that it's come to this, to where we need to remember what it means to love one another, to have that unconditional love for one another, and be willing to sacrifice for the greater good. And so, yeah, I fear that, we still are in that place where people just don't quite get it, and it's going to take it affecting them close to home before they finally realize, oh man, look at what the resources that I have. What can I do to try to help? Because it's my daughter or it's my son that has it. When this whole time you could have flattened the curve altogether by thinking about your son and daughter and trying to prevent them from getting sick by trying to offer some type of assistance in some type of way. I got about 2 more things that I want to talk about today, and then I'm gonna let y'all go. We got 2 arrests that took place, or 2 law enforcement things that happened. Both of them a matter of selfishness in my opinion. So I'm gonna just lay it out there for you guys. One, the man with 17,700 bottles of hand sanitizer just donated them. A man had planned to sell his stockpile at marked up prices online, and now he's under investigation for price gouging. Tennessee man who became a subject of national scorn after stockpiling 17,700 bottles of hand sanitizer donated all the supplies on Sunday, just as the Tennessee Attorney General office began investigating him for price gouging. On Sunday morning, Matt Colvin, an Amazon seller outside of Chattanooga, Tennessee, helped volunteers from a local church load 2/3 of his stockpile of hand sanitizer and antibacterial wipes into a box truck for the church to distribute to the people in need across Tennessee. Let me tell you something. I knew, something told me when I saw all these people going into the stores and buying everything up, that it wasn't just about trying to, stockpile so that they can have something for themselves over the course of a long haul. I felt in my heart of hearts that it was about somebody trying to make money by selling this stuff online. And sure enough, this man did not let me down. He did not disappoint. And he proved my point that we are some of the greediest human beings on the face of planet Earth. What's going on, Madcap? It's good to see you. But we are some of the greediest people on planet Earth, where you go and you buy up 17,700 bottles of hand sanitizer and a boatload of antibacterial wipes just to then try to prove the point. Amazon later on has been kind of monitoring and canceling a whole bunch of different things that people can buy online now, because they realize that you got these people that try to price gouge. They're trying to drive up prices where you got a 4-pack of toilet tissue for $50 or $60, a bottle of hand sanitizer this big for $50. Like, this is the world that we live in now, where we're trying to take advantage of people by hoarding all of the things that we need and then selling them to the highest bidder. We can't be doing that. And sure enough, this man, thank God they caught him, and they're catching countless others. Like I said, Amazon, eBay, and all of them, they're monitoring to see, where these guys are trying to sell this stuff at, and shutting them down, and finding them for trying to price gouge and things like that. But how callous must you be in a situation like this, where you're taking all the things that people need? Because again, people are stockpiling on tissue and toilet and paper towels and Clorox bleach and all of the such stuff, and they're not using it. They're just sitting in their homes waiting for somebody to say, hey, can I get them, and then sell it to them for like $50,000 or whatever. Like, no, this isn't the world. This is the world we live in, obviously, because we got a whole bunch of selfish-minded people who just gonna try to make $1. But it just goes back to say that, how callous must we be as a people, where we're trying to take advantage of a situation like this and say, you know what, nah, you can't have the money, no, you can't have this, you can't have that, and we're gonna do what we can to try to hoard it all and try to make a profit off of somebody else. That's not right. It's just not right. It's not fair. And it's just interest store food. And she was charged with 4 felonies as a result of that. A woman who played a twisted prank at a Pennsylvania grocery store Wednesday by purposefully coughing on about $35,000 worth of food that had to be thrown out was charged with 4 felonies, including counts of making terroristic threats. Today was a challenging day. Joe Fausto wrote Wednesday. He's part of the Garrity's, I think it's Garrity's supermarket chain. A woman who the police know to be a chronic problem in the community walked into the chain's Hanover Township store and proceeded to purposely cough on our fresh produce in a small. Come on, man. With everything that's going on in the world, you ain't got nothing else to do but to go and pretend that you're sick and cough on all this stuff. And now they got to throw all this food. $35,000 worth of food is now gone, and they're not going to get it back because you don't know if the lady's sick or not. And again, it's for what? For what? Again, that's the question I have. For what? What made you think that this is a good idea to say, yeah, let me cough on all this stuff, let me cough on all this food, and ha, key. No, now you're charged with 4 daggum felonies, for doing all this crazy stuff. Like, it's unnecessary, man. Like, come on, we're better than this. I want to believe in my heart of hearts that we're better than this. I don't know if maybe, somebody put her up to it. I pray to God it wasn't some Facebook challenge. I remember the basketball player. I can't remember his name right now, but he was playing around when it was starting to get a little serious, like the day before they shut down basketball, and was touching on microphones and touching on people and all that kind of stuff. And listen, and on top of that, I now I'm worried that even the supermarket chain may get some blowback from this and not have people not want to go into the store and buy food, because they're scared that their food may be contaminated. And so it's like, come on, y'all, we got to be better than this. We stomach about the food loss. When so many people are worried about the security of our food supply, it makes this even more disturbing. Like, come on, man, we're better than this. Like, we shouldn't be going around coughing on nothing. We shouldn't be going around playing with nobody. I was just at work the other day, and because our weather like changed from hot to cold really quickly, I'm cold natured. And so when it got really, really cold, well, no, I'm hot natured. So when it got really cold, like it really bothered me, and I was sniffling a little bit. And one of the nurses looked at me funny because I sniffed about 2 or 3 times, and I told her, no corona, it's just cold outside. But that's where we're at right now, man. Where like you can't even cough around people without people thinking you might have the virus. And so for you to go around the whole store and cough on all this food, like, come on, we're better than this. We are so much better than this. And shame on them for doing that. Shame on the man who hoarded all this stuff, because now I can't find no hand sanitizer. The governor of Georgia just shut down our state even more for a longer period of time, and everybody was so up in arms and scared. So what did? They went right to the store and bought up everything all over again. So now we're out of stuff again because people are crazy. Food and playing with people's lives, man. Like it's not that deep. It's not that serious for us to be wanting to pull a prank on folk like that, because again, heaven forbid that's you. And you're wanting to buy some food, or you're wanting to buy some things, and you got this, lack of just dummy, coughing on stuff. Like, don't do that, man. Don't do that. It's not that deep. It's not that serious, and it's just gonna get you in a whole lot of trouble. Let it be known. If I see somebody doing that, I'm definitely gonna run and tell that, because I ain't got time for that. I don't like nobody breathing on my food. So let alone somebody trying to cough up on the joint. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to fill out the comment box below, and I'll try to answer your questions and your comments as fast as I can. Again, I'm working on African Colors by Anatolian. Beautiful puzzle. Been looking forward to putting this one together for quite some time. And if you are one of my followers online later on, my puzzle buddy, puzzle pastime, and I will be doing our race today. Mad Hatter Versus, and we're going to be working on the Patch of Flower Patches by Puzzle So Hard. I really love that company. Really love the design and the feel of their puzzles. And so if you haven't used one yet, get yourself one. Just going over to puzzlesohard.com. Last thing that I want to talk about today, then I'm going to let y'all go. This is kind of funny to me. Sad but funny. And it's only because I love Ocean's 11 so much. A Van Gogh painting was stolen from a museum that was shuttered by the COVID-19 pandemic. A painting by Vincent Van Gogh was stolen during the early hours of Monday morning from a Dutch museum that is currently closed due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Singer-Laren Museum in the town of Laren, just outside of Amsterdam, said Van Gogh's The Parsonage Garden at Noonan in Spring was stolen in an overnight raid. The painting, created by the Dutch master in 1884, was on loan from another art institution, the Groninger Museum in the city of Groningen. Groningen, rather. I think I said that right. A police statement said that the theft took place around 3:15 a.m. local time, and that intruders entered the premises by breaking through a glass door. I love this. I am shocked and unbelievably pissed off. Museum director Jan Rudolph DeLorme, all of us, because art is there to be seen and shared by all of us, for it's a society as a whole, to bring enjoyment, to bring inspiration, and to also bring comfort, especially in this trying time. And so that's messed up, man. That's messed up. Again, people gonna be people, I guess, and why not? Why not? If they're going to steal 17,000, if they're not going to steal, they're going to buy 17,000 bottles of hand sanitizer and try to sell them to the highest bidder. Why not, some art thieves decide to go do some thievery while everything's shut down? Because the security guards, I guess, were napping. They ain't nobody going to museums anytime soon. They probably cased the place to figure out whether or not, staff hours going to be there. And sure enough, at 3:15 a.m., they didn't even try. They broke the glass window, went on through, got the paint, and left. It wasn't like they were trying to do anything super slick. They just went in and did a snatch and grab job. So it's just messed up, man. Once again, that we live in a world that was willing to take advantage of situations like these and try their hardest just to do what they want to do during the consequences and during whoever's going to get hurt in the process. Again, in the grand scheme, it's just a painting, but we know how people put value in art and things like that. So if you do see that painting on the black market and you want to be a do-gooder and want to help to try to get this painting back to where it belongs, please let those people know where it is so that way they can get that painting back. That's messed up, man. Like I said, it's just a sad state of affairs that in a world like this, where people are trying to figure out whether things are going to go back to normal, that we still live in a state where bad people are going to do bad things for selfish reasons, and they don't care who they hurt in the process. And so again, it's just kind of the world. It's going to be the world that we live in from now till kingdom come. And so unfortunately, we just have to deal with the consequences of living in this society, and hope to high heaven that one of these days Jesus does come back and get us all. But until that time, it just is what it is. And I'm praying and hoping that people kind of get their acts together and help us flatten this curve. And so that's kind of my final statement, I guess, for the day. It's just that, that everything has kind of messed our whole lives up, that COVID-19 and the ramifications thereof has kind of just slowed down life and caused us to be in a place where, we're having to be isolated from the world, not able to do the things that we want to do. And for some of us, it's kind of sad. It's kind of saddening to us and everything. But we got to me in the puzzling world, we've kind of taken advantage of being in isolation. I was doing Mad Hatter versus the puzzle contest that I've been doing since March, and I was doing it not for the sake of social isolation. I was doing it really just to be able to, congregate with my fellow puzzlers who are all over the that we're doing this in the midst of this crisis taking place, and it's kind of turned into our hashtag Stay Home Puzzle Party, where we're just puzzling with one another. And it's our way of keeping in contact with one another, communicating with one another, congregating with one another. And I've actually made a lot of great friendships now through this puzzle contest, to where, just as an outside thinking box type deal, I'm actually thinking about trying to revamp it just a little bit to make it more social distance appropriate. Than just it being about battling, but that's neither here nor there. The point that I'm making is that, we as a society have an opportunity to help one another in a way that we have not been able to help one another before. We are given this opportunity to be there for one another by not being around each other. That I know, again, that as a people, we long for human connection. We long to be around others. We long to do our work. We long to go and do our jobs. Go out and congregate and those sort of things. Go to restaurants, go to the movies, go to the clubs, and those sort of things. And a lot of our businesses are going to be affected, especially small businesses are going to be affected and impacted by all this if they haven't been make sense of everything in our capitalist society and trying to do what's best so that way the government doesn't fall apart, while at the same time making sure that everyone is taken care of as best as they possibly can. We need to do our part. If we stay home and, limit interaction and don't try to be around people like we have been, it is possible that we can bring this thing to an end a whole lot sooner than anticipated. But we've got to do our part, doing all the things that we see people doing about going to parties and going to concerts and all this other kind of stuff, bonfires. We need to stop that. We need to stop taking advantage of people by going to stores and buying everything up and then selling them later on in some cockamamie scheme to try to make $1 off of other people. We need to stop stockpiling stuff altogether as if the end of the world is coming into play. Y'all, the stores are staying open. You don't need to buy 19 packs of meat and 17 packs of toilet paper. You're gonna be fine. The stores are still gonna be open. You're still gonna be able to go to Walmart and stuff. We is in a unique situation right now to where we're able to serve one another in a way that we've never been able to before. You want to do your part, stay home. You want to do your part, find something wholesome to do at home. You know, it's not the end of the world to have to sit at home for a little while. I know you extroverts out there are clamoring and trying to figure out what to do. We bought up all our puzzles that I was looking forward to buying. Y'all bought my puzzles, man. I wanted to buy them puzzles. You know, bought up all our puzzles. Y'all better be puzzling with them too. And I want to see your posts later on. But you know, there are a lot of things that can be done. A lot of ways to continue to have social interaction with others. It doesn't take having to burn the world apart to try to make sense of what's going on. But guys, stay home. Just stay home. Don't be going out if you don't need to. Don't be congregating when you don't need to. And like I said, most importantly, y'all just take care of yourselves. Take care of yourselves. This virus is serious. And whatever you have to do to protect yourself at any cost, you do what you need to do. But like I said, more importantly, just stay your butts at home. Because at the end of the day, if you are a carrier, you go out and you congregate with somebody else for an extended period of time, chances are you are spreading it without even realizing it. Act as if you have it. Contain yourself as much as you can to keep from spreading it, and that way we can flatten this curve like we're asking everyone to do, and hopefully get back to a state of normalcy. Listen, I love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in today. You can catch the replay of this on YouTube. I'm gonna try to upload it to Instagram, but I was having a whole lot of trouble trying to upload this to Instagram the last couple of times. I did a podcast, and so I'll try to get it on there as well. But you can catch the replay of this on my YouTube page, Mad Hatter Puzzle Art. Again, Patches. Looking forward to having a great time with her as we're doing that puzzle. And again, we're gonna see what happens, y'all. I love y'all so much, and I'm going to be on the airwaves trying to figure out what's going on. And last thing, go watch Tiger King. I'm going to watch it this weekend, and I'm going to have, and hopefully, be able to finish it all. So that way we can have a lot to talk about. Maybe I'll follow up with it next time on my podcast. But listen, guys, I love you all. Take care of yourselves. Stay your butts at home, and I'll see y'all the next time on the Mad Hatter is Puzzle. Y'all take it easy.